Hi, I'm Mel.
I'm Bruce.
And we're Brooklyn Italians Talk Movies. Hi guys, welcome back. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving again. Thanks for joining us again. Tonight we're going to do a movie that's a little different than the ones we've done before. This is it's a shark movie. It's called Meg. You probably heard of it. Starring The Meg. I'm sorry, The Meg. And Bruce, you want to do the introduction?
Yeah, sure. It was a good movie. It was a shark movie, of course, about a prehistoric shark, a megalodon. The movie was starring Jason Statham as Jonas Taylor. Good actor. Statham, love him. The starring actress in the movie was Lee Bingbing. She played Su Yin. She did a good acting job. Not bad, you know. Her father in the movie was a scientist. It was played by Winston Choa. He was Dr. Minwei Zhang. And there was also another main character in the movie. His name's Cliff Curtis. He played James McCready. You might recognize him from The Walking Dead.
Yeah, Fear of the Walking Dead. I don't know if many people saw that. It was like pre-Walking Dead, right? He was very good in that. He was on a short time, and it's good to see him now. He's in movies. I've seen him a few times in the movies.
He's a pretty good actor. He's a very likable guy. Very likable actor.
And you always like him no matter what part he plays.
Right, yeah.
Okay. You want me to start it off?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I'll tell you the truth. When I first saw the movie, I didn't expect much because lately they've been making a lot of shark movies that
ridiculous.
To me remind me of those Saturday morning B movies.
Ridiculous shark movies. Forget about
silly movies, Sharknado and Five-Headed Shark and Shark and Alligator combined. I don't know. But the last good shark movie or the only good shark movie that we've seen.
Right. There's only one good shark movie.
That one had a story. It had a middle, beginning, and end. The shark was believable. But we won't get too much into that. It's not a comparison one. But to me, that's the only shark movie.
Well, Jaws is a classic. I mean, we both love it. We own it. We probably watched it we watch it every summer. That's for sure.
Big stars in that. Richard Dreyfuss, Roy Scheider. The other guy, I can't think of.
I forget the guy that plays Quint. I can never remember his name.
Great lines in there that you remember.
If you know the name, comment.
Yeah, there's a lot. We're going to have to put his picture up when we do this. Was a really good movie. But we're not going to do a comparison today. We're going to get back to The Meg. Jason Statham, great action actor. They picked the perfect person. A little different than what he usually does. He's usually fighting drug dealers. This time he's fighting a shark. Everybody loves him no matter what movie he does. The story it reminded me, and tell me if I'm wrong, it reminded me of...
Don't I always?
Always. Reminded me of the old Godzilla movies. It mostly takes place with the scientists and the doctors where, see Jaws, it was a beach town and they had to get rid of the shark. This was nothing like that. This was basically...
it was a monster movie.
It was a lab. It was a marine biology lab, of course, to the extreme modern, you know.
Yeah.
And these scientists and these people were exploring. They find a new ecosystem in the ocean.
Let me take it over.
Well, can I just finish
Well,
the
you're not
sentence?
everything.
Well, I just want to give them the basic story.
Well,
and they find this new ecosystem, and this is where this shark...
An ecosystem.
Ecosystem. Eco.
I thought you meant echo like...
And this is where this enormous shark, prehistoric shark, comes from. I'll let Bruce tell it. I know he wants to tell it. Go ahead.
What happened was the movie opens up. You see Jason Statham is in a submarine. Okay. Apparently, a United States Navy submarine had sank to the bottom of the ocean, and Jason Statham and his crew were rescuers. They were, their specific job was to go down and rescue people from that certain type of situation. So when the movie opens up, Jason Statham and two other guys are in this sunken submarine and there's casualties, and they're trying to get people out and they're trying to help everybody and get them to a rescue submarine. And what happens is they start to get the downed submarine starts to get smashed, and it's shaking and rocking, and it's getting hit by something. So they don't know what it is. But anyway, Jason Statham carries one of the sailors and he puts them up. Their ship was attached, their submarine was attached through the hatches, like it was attached to this big sunken submarine. So he puts them up through the hatch, and the other two guys that he was with, his two partners, were further into the sunken submarine trying to rescue whatever sailors were still alive there. And what happened was whatever was attacking this submarine or whatever was hitting this submarine now had hit the side where it breached open a thing about this big in the side of the submarine, and water started to gush in. And these guys couldn't make it back to the rescue submarine, so they were on headphones, like walkie-talkies with Jason Statham, and he was saying, I'm not going to leave you here, I'm coming back for you. And these guys started yelling, if you don't leave right now, then we're all going to die.
Yeah, it was a very dramatic opening. In other words...
So anyway, he leaves them there. He leaves them.
It's not that
he closes
had no
the hatch.
choice,
Right. He would have lost everybody, so he just left.
Apparently, he was able to save 11 people. 2 were left behind. He just couldn't get to them.
Right.
I mean, which is kind of realistic. In all the movies you watch, it's always they rescue everyone or no one. This one was kind of realistic. And he'll tell you the rest, but he gets back to his regular life. And then you can tell him what.
Well, when he get back to his regular life, you'll see
he's down and
a little
out.
bit later on, he becomes an alcoholic, and he's like,
because he feels bad.
He quits his rescue job and stuff like that because he can't deal with the guys that he left behind were his 2 best friends.
Because he had feelings and he felt bad that.
So what happened was he leaves them behind and they die, and he feels guilty, like it's his
fault. He takes it very hard. He takes it really
for leaving them behind, So anyway. Now it fades out, fades back in there, and you see this guy coming on a helicopter like he's this big rich billionaire that comes on his helicopter. And
he played an excellent part.
Yeah, he did actually.
I mean, it wasn't
I should have mentioned his name.
Yeah, it wasn't a dramatic role. He was like a knockaround guy that just had a lot of money.
Well, you know what it is? He seemed like one of those internet billionaires.
Right.
Like a young guy that made $1 billion on some internet thing that he started or whatever.
Well, we don't know that.
Well, that's what it seemed like. He had like a baseball cap on, young guy,
Right. He wasn't
didn't have enough time to live to
Yeah.
become a billionaire, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway.
He was funding this whole thing.
Yeah, he funded this whole research. It looked like
research center.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, hon.
You don't have to repeat every word
All
I say.
Okay.
Anyway, it was like an oil rig. It looked like an oil rig. It was 200 miles off the Chinese coast in the ocean and in the China Sea. And they had, it was actually a research institute, like a marine biology research institute. And what they were doing was the whole thing they were researching was this Dr. Zhang. He believed that the deepest part of the ocean, what we thought was the deepest part of the ocean floor, wasn't actually the ocean floor. It was a layer of what they called permafrost, which was this like 200 below zero layer that nothing could go down through it and no living things could come up through it. If it was, if it actually existed, there would be a whole nother ecosystem underneath. So what happened was they sent this submarine down with a girl and 2 guys in it. They sent it down to try and penetrate this layer. And they get down, they get to this layer and they do it, and they actually get through. And there is another whole world underneath this layer of permafrost.
And it starts out, of course, like a beautiful discovery.
Right, they see all kinds of like
fish and
weird fish and
everything, and that's how it starts.
Right, and then all of a sudden, of course.
Owen and I.
Right.
Was that Jurassic Park?
Yeah, Jurassic Park. He says first there's oohing and eyeing, and then there's yelling and screaming.
Jeff Goldblum, a famous line.
So anyway, their submarine, their little submarine that they're in now, something slams into it,
You never actually see it though at the beginning.
Right.
You don't know what's slamming into it. You don't know what's going on.
Right. They say like, what the heck is that? What happened? They're looking around.
Oh, a little side note, of course, the girl that's not driving, the girl that's the leader of the group.
Yeah, the pilot of this
little submarine, captain of the submarine, whatever she is, happens to be Jason Statham's ex-wife.
Yeah.
So of course they have to throw little things in like that. But go ahead.
So anyway, they get down there and they get hit with something, and the submarines rock back and forth. And now that thing is hit, it hits them again, and it cripples the submarine. So now the submarine has no power, no nothing. So now all the researchers up on the top in this research institute, they're all panicking, and they said, we only have a certain amount of time. So now the one guy, the guy from The Walking Dead, the guy that played McCready, he said, he says, I know the only guy in the world that can actually do this, can rescue
Fear the Walking Dead.
Fear the Walking Dead. So they go now in a helicopter and they find Jason Statham in Thailand somewhere, drunk. He's getting thrown out of bars, and he's like, so they actually find him. But Jason Statham knew this McCready. They were friends. So Jason Statham said, I'm not doing it no more. I don't do this anymore. Nothing you could say can make me do it. Nothing's gonna, if you ask me this, I'm gonna say no. If you offer me money, I'm gonna say no. If you tell me it's to appeal to my inner thing, it's gonna be no. So let's just sit down, have a couple of beers, and that's it. We'll go our separate ways. So the guy says to him, he says, we got a sunken sub, and he explains the situation to him, and he says, your wife, so-and-so, is actually the pilot your ex-wife is the pilot of the submarine. She's trapped down there. So now that's it. What is he going to do? That's the only thing he could have said that he didn't say no to. So now they get on a helicopter and then we're on their way back to this research facility. Why don't you pick it up?
All right. So now he's going to do it. His ex-wife is on the submarine. In the meantime, she's injured. She's hurt really bad. When the shark, you don't know it's a shark, but when it gets hit, something goes through her like a spear or something. No,
it's like a screwdriver.
Something went through her. Yeah. So now she's bleeding. You don't know if she's going to make it. And they lose voice contact. They can't even talk to them. It freezes up. They don't know what's going on. And here comes Jason Statham. And he's going to go down and try to rescue them.
But now in the meantime,
of course, there's a character. Yes, there's the doctor in the lab. There's a doctor who doesn't like Jason Statham.
Well, the guy that played the doctor, his character was on this rescue submarine with Jason Statham when he had to leave those two guys behind. So this doctor said, you're a coward. You left them in, and they had bad blood between them. So this doctor he was the doctor on this research facility. Right. Well, he wasn't nasty. He just didn't like Jason Statham.
Well, how about the 11 people he saved, right?
Yeah, well, they didn't look at it that way.
Well, anyway, there was a little friction between them. And then there was the new girl, the girl that...
Well, this doctor, the guy who was in charge of the research facility, Dr. Shang, he had a daughter, Suyin, I think her name was, Suyin? Yeah.
I'm not sure.
And she was a marine biologist, but she was also piloted submarines and stuff like that.
Very intelligent.
Right. And she had a little daughter that was also on this research facility.
Right.
And she's a cute kid. I mean, she had very smart.
There's different relationships. Around the main story. It's not a very deep. They don't get deep into the characters. It's not like Jaws, where you got to know he was a retired cop and his family and this. And it wasn't deep into the characters with it, but they were basic characters. There was the ex-wife. There was the new interest, the new girl. Right. There was the doctor who had the friction, who didn't like him. There was different stories developing around this. Right. But basically now he has to go down and rescue them.
But before before Jason Statham even gets there, the submarine the girl in the submarine, Jason Statham's ex-wife, the shark hits the submarine again because they had gotten emergency power back and they turned the lights on. The shark was attracted to the lights. Right, so he hits the submarine again. She falls and a screwdriver goes through her side.
Well, we said that.
Well, this was after.
Right, you're telling it the way, yeah.
So now she's dying, right? So they got emergency power. They were able to contact the research place. So they call up the research place and they said, listen, she's not going to make it. You got to get somebody. We got to get out of here. You got to do something. Come down and get us. So now it's an emergency. So now this girl, Su Ying, the head guy's daughter, she jumps in one of these little rescue submarines and takes off and starts going down to the bottom and try and rescue him. In the interim, Jason Statham lands on this thing with the helicopter. They all get off and then they go in. And the guy says to him, hey, your daughter went into the rescue submarine and took off. She's going down to try to get them. There's a bad situation.
Right, so now both of them are trying to rescue him.
Right, so now Jason Statham, of course, they have to rush him into the main rescue submarine.
And there's a cute little girl, just so I know, cute little girl, her daughter, who's worried about her mommy, who just went into the ocean. And she develops like a little relationship with Jason Statham.
Yeah, she calls him Mr. Crazy.
Mr. Crazy, because she's around all grown ups who will call him crazy.
Right.
But so, anyway, go ahead.
He gets in this rescue submarine and he gets dumped in the water, and now he's going down. You know what I mean? So, but she's ahead of him. So she goes through this layer of stuff first, and then Jason Statham goes through it. So now once she gets down there, she says, she's talking to the dead submarine. She's talking to them and she's saying, I'm gonna shoot a rescue cable and attach the rescue cable to your submarine, and then I'm gonna go up and I'm gonna pull you up with me. As she attempts to do this, boom, the shark hits her submarine and knocks her ass overhead, right? So now, that's not a bad word. He's banging, kicking me under the table. So, anyway, they go, ship flips around, right? And of course, the connection she made with the down submarine breaks away. And now she's like upside down. She doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't know who's coming. You know, what they still don't know that it's a megalodon. They still don't know.
What I don't understand is, if I have to say this, I don't understand one thing. This shark is 90 feet long.
Yeah, I mean more than 90. He's humongous. He could swallow the whole building.
They never see it coming.
Yeah.
In the whole movie.
No, they saw it coming.
They only see it when it came up. Well, we'll get to that part, and you see the fin.
Right.
No, you're in this thing underwater. They could see perfectly all the coral and the fish. They don't see this 90-foot prehistoric Meg, whatever they call it, coming up behind them, slamming. I don't understand. That's the only part I don't understand. They had to see it coming. Right. It's like not seeing King Kong.
So anyway, Jason Statham gets down there, right? And he sees the shark. He sees it. And he sees it hit her submarine. And he goes, oh man, that's a megalodon. That's a prehistoric shark. And he's talking to them up in the research center. So now
they know he wasn't crazy, because he said he saw
it.
He was the only one.
They didn't believe any creature, because he said a creature was, in the beginning of the movie, when he lost those two guys, he said something attacked the submarine. Right. They didn't believe him. They thought he was just a coward.
Making an excuse. Right. Making an excuse.
So now, of course, he's vindicated, and they know he's not a nut, he's not a coward, right? So anyway, whatever the case may be, he winds up, I don't want to get into every single detail, because these videos have been running. Like last week we did King Kong 1933 versus 2005, wound up being an hour and 10-minute video.
Well, you just like to talk.
Yeah, well, I know. They're not going to sit through an hour and 10-minute video. So, well, okay, let's just keep it rolling. So anyway, they rescue these people in the submarine. Jason Statham's ex-wife, and now they get him out, right? And of course they're attached, just the way they were in the beginning, right? They're attached. And they're bringing her, they brought her up through, the one with the screwdriver, they brought her up through there, they put her in the rescue sub. Then they bring the other guy up, and now the shark now is attacking these ships. He's hitting them, he's attacking them. So what happens is, the one guy left in the down submarine, he says, you're not, they're saying, okay, come on, let's go, you gotta go. So now he knows that the shark is attracted to light. So what he does is, we have a very heroic move, man, very heroic move. He closes the hatch and twists it and hits the button for them to blow away from, disconnect from each other. And their submarine starts to go out, and they're yelling, what are you doing, what are you doing? And he turns all the lights on in the down submarine, and the shark turns away from Jason Statham's submarine and goes towards the one that was down. Then only this one guy left in it. And all you see is the shark's tremendous mouth envelop this submarine and crush it, and it exploded and everything, and then that was the end of that guy. But he sacrificed himself so that they could live.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right. Most of this, I just want to give a little of I guess, an opinion. Most of this movie is in the deep ocean. I wish that they had more of it outside. There was a
good part in the shallow ocean too.
What?
Later on at the beach.
Oh, no, I know, I'll get to that. But I wish it wasn't just mostly in the ocean. Most of this is underwater, in the submarines, and these things under the water. I wish there was more story outside of it. I know I keep saying like Jaws, but even what happens is it becomes the whole thing. You're just watching you're watching action, which is good.
Right.
But to me, I get tired with just constant,
Well, they told a little bit of a story. Jason Statham now, the girl, a doctor's daughter,
very little.
she was attracted.
Very little on the
She was attracted to Jason Statham. He was attracted to her. So there was a little thing going on there.
Not only that, a lot of the scenes, they were very good. He was smart, whatever. A lot of it very far-fetched. But you know what? I understand, most of the movies, action movies today are very, far-fetched. Not the average person can do these things.
Let's talk about the movie.
Well, we gotta just a little bit how we feel. We're reviewing.
Oh yeah, we'll do that at the end.
Okay, never mind. I was just trying to say a lot of it far-fetched, a lot of it filmed in the ocean. I feel it should have had more
You know what?
out.
Let me run through it, right?
Okay.
And then we'll discuss how we feel about it, all right?
Sounds good.
So anyway, Jason Statham, blah, 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 they decide, they figure out that it's a megalodon. Now they're talking about what?
The body.
That's my way of getting through the parts I don't want to talk about. Anyway, they get to this point and they say, okay, he saw it was a megalodon, and they're talking about it at the the research center and everything. By the way, his ex-wife lives, and the doctor now apologizes to him because he thought he was a coward, and he apologizes the whole 9 yards. So now Jason Statham now is part of this research center. So now they're discussing this shark, and all of a sudden they see that these ships that are off, out in the ocean are being destroyed one by one. So they said, what could it be? They get on a ship and on a boat that they had, and they go out towards these boats that were destroyed. And they're going, they're looking, they see all the debris in the water, and they see everything, they see like body parts in the water and stuff like that. And all of a sudden they see this humongous fin come out of the water. They couldn't believe it because they said, how could he get up through, a million years he's below this frozen layer that they had down there, and now he's up in the regular ocean. How did he get through that thing, that frozen layer? So what happened was they figured out that when Jason Statham's submarine came through, it was warm enough to create, not to melt it, but to create a pathway that wasn't super frozen, and this shark followed them right through that opening. So now he's out and he's in the China Sea and he's roaming around crushing boats and attacking everybody. So now they decide that they have to...
Oh, is that the part where the people are all in the water?
No.
The beach?
No. Now they decide that they have to do away with this thing, right? So now how do you do away with it? We were talking about it. She says it took them a major thing to kill Jaws, and Jaws was like a guppy next to a whale.
Yeah, this was really far-fetched.
Right.
This was really...
So then Jason Statham, they have to get close to this thing. They figured out, same thing as in Jaws, they were going to put poison in it in a spear, and they had to inject them in the mouth or the gills or whatever.
What? I don't mean to interrupt you, but in Jaws, this is what made it believable. It was a huge shark, a great white shark.
It could actually happen.
It wasn't a meg, whatever. What's the full name for that? Megalodon. It was a regular great white shark. They had to attach barrels to it. Yeah. They had 3 guys. They were out there for a couple of days. Right. One of them gets killed, right?
And a shark ate half the boat.
It was so dramatic and believable. This is, well, he'll tell you the story.
Well, it was believable because it could actually happen. They were all great white sharks.
Jason Statham, he's a great action guy, but I mean, he went out there.
This is where the movie took like a ridiculous turn.
They gave him like a thing to shoot. He had to be 100 feet from the shark. He said,
right, yeah, he gave him like a harpoon to shoot. Like he had to be 100 feet.
And he was so willing. Okay,
they attach a cable to him.
Right.
And he jumps in the water and starts swimming towards this shark. Right?
It was silly.
So he gets there, and he manages to shoot this thing, and it hits the shark in the mouth, right? And
how he even was able to,
and he did it. So now they see it, right?
Remember Jaws at the end when he goes smile, SOB? Yeah. He had to be like this close, and he had a gas tank, and he shoots it. He was 100 feet away, and he had to just happen to get it in the jaw of the mouth.
So he got him, though. He got the poison in, right?
And not only that.
And now the shark turns around and starts heading for him. So now they had him attached to a cable, so they're yelling, reel him in. right? So they hit this button.
It was like he got a fish trap. It was like
This thing starts turning and it starts pulling him.
That was
now,
so
as
silly.
it's pulling him, this shark is chomping.
Yeah, it was
like
ridiculous.
this. So now they say, okay, you gotta get a little faster here. So they gun the boat. So now Jason Statham is shooting through this water like they're dragging him and reeling him in at the same time. And the shark is chomping and chomping and chomping, right? So now he gets right up to him and the shark goes to chomp him and the poison takes effect. And the shark just like stops and his eyes roll back and he just like falls, just starts to fall away. They get Jason Statham back on the boat.
Well, I just have to say one thing. And nobody is scared in this movie.
Oh no, they were scared.
They weren't that scared. Jason Statham, you didn't take much convincing. He's like, I'm going. He jumped in. He put his wetsuit on. He gave me this 100 feet. Oh, thanks a lot. Like it was kind of like, and he wasn't even scared. The other girl, the young girl, who's the doctor's daughter with the grand, she left her little girl and first of all, I don't even know why she would take a chance. She has this little girl.
Yeah, right.
But she's like, oh, I'm going. I know what I'm doing. And she gets in the cage, in the shark cage. You're not talking about a regular.
Well, anyway, the thing was.
No one was scared.
Oh no, wait a minute.
In Jaws, they were scared. He was scared of the water because he couldn't swim. All right, go ahead.
No, I made a mistake.
What?
Jason Statham didn't shoot the poison at him.
The girl.
Jason Statham shot him with a tracking device.
Yeah,
like a little GPS tracking device, so they could so they could track him wherever he was going, right? So now the girl, they get this shark done, right? Well, the shark now, see, I goofed up the whole thing.
You didn't goof it up. You just skipped the part where the girl went down.
Well, the girl, they got a big shark cage
made
out of like plexiglass, and they're saying this thing cannot be crushed, it can't be broken, it can't be. So they put the girl in this thing and put her in the water,
and she had no fear.
She's got a spear that she's got to hit this megalodon in the mouth or in the gills to poison, right? So this thing now sees her, and he comes out.
And they're dropping meat and blood.
Oh yeah, well they're dropping like, what do you call it, chum? They're dropping chum in the water, and it's all blood and everything all around, and the shark, there's regular sharks, like I guess tiger sharks and mako sharks, and they're all coming now to the blood, right? So now all of a sudden, she's in this shark cage, she sees all of these gigantic tiger sharks, great whites and everything, disappear. They just take off. So now she turns around and looks, and here comes this megalodon. And he opens his mouth.
You could have ate the whole cage.
It was, he grabbed a hold of this cage now. It's on a big cable. He grabs a hold of this cage. It's not a cage, it's like a plexiglass cylinder. He grabs a hold of it, and now he starts thrashing around. And he's pulling it, and in turn, he's pulling this humongous ship with him, right? So now the girl is being thrown around in there. The bottom of the cage was mesh, and the top was mesh. And there's holes about this big all around this glass thing, this plexiglass thing. Well, anyway, you gotta let them know.
Right,
she gets close.
The
shark is. All right, well,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. No. It was so far-fetched you had to get into the detail of it, but go ahead, finish it up.
Anyway, she sticks the pole through one of these holes, gets him in the mouth, she poisons him. Now she can't get out of the cage because everything is bent. They try to pull her in, they had the cable on a winch. The shark had the thing in his mouth and he's pulling it. So now, of course, the arm of the winch breaks, falls into the water, and now this thing is gonna, as soon as this winch, this big mechanical arm passes and starts to sink, it's gonna drag her down. Okay, so now Jason Statham, of course, jumps into the water, swims down there, manages to get her out of the cage, pull her out just in time, and its cage starts to go down to the bottom, right? And now they're pulling them back to the ship. They try to get them back to the ship, and as they're getting them back to the ship, this megalodon is chomping, right? And as he gets the last thing, that's what I said before when I made the mistake, he chomps and then he starts to stop and his eyes roll back and he dies, right? So the next thing was they get him on the ship, the megalodon.
Right.
Go ahead, you tell it from there.
After this, all right, they get him on.
Don't tell me, tell them.
They get him. I don't want to really say. Let me just give my opinion a little bit. This is a movie that, after you watch it for 15 minutes, you know where it's going. You know, it's kind of like it's an okay movie for like maybe Saturday. Grab your popcorn. Whatever, just don't look too deep into it. But it's just the way it was filmed. It was, I wouldn't put it in anywhere near category of like a Jaws movie. Just a fun, maybe even not kids, but teenagers, popcorn,
Yeah.
watch the movie at face value. Not as bad as those Sharknadoes, not as silly as that.
And we paid $5.99 for it.
Yeah,
Don't do that.
maybe we're $2.99. I love Jason Statham.
If you want to watch it, listen, if you want to watch it, wait till it comes on.
Right,
It'll
so,
be on cable real quick.
They get the shark on the boat. I don't know how. I forgot how they even got the shark.
They didn't show you. All of a sudden they had the shark.
I don't know how they would
up
be able
by
to
the
lift
tail,
it. Right.
hanging
How
from
they
the
did that. It would took them a day or two to get them up there. But anyway, he's up there. They're so happy and they're taking pictures of the shark. And hey, we got the shark. Then all of a sudden, you can tell this part.
All of a sudden, out of nowhere.
Oh, the guy falls over. He takes his picture. The guy falls over the deck, and they're laughing.
Right. They
Right.
take the guy's picture, and they're all happy they got the shark,
The
right?
shark.
So now, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, another megalodon.
A bigger shark.
3 times the size of the original one.
Impossible, if even possible. What?
No, I'm going to let you talk.
No, I said even that that was even possible.
They let him, he jumps out of the water. He, like, jumps over the ship, grabs the other megalodon that's hanging there in his jaws, and goes over the other
And
side
the
of the
guy,
boat.
he killed the guy.
Now, in the interim, while he's going over the side, his tail catches the boat and flips the boat over.
All
So
kinds
now
of chaos.
all the people go
all
into
kinds
the water.
Of madness going
Right.
on. All kinds of chaos.
Right, so now they gotta
That poor
try.
guy got killed too.
Yeah.
He was so happy they were taking a picture. He
Right,
fell
he
over,
got
was laughing
killed,
in the water, and the biggest shark came in.
Now they're trying to get, now they know they gotta get this bigger shark. So now they hit the, of course, they hit the shark with another tracking device. So now they're watching this shark, where it's going. And the shark is headed for a beach resort, where there's like thousands of people. It's the most populated beach resort in the world, supposedly. And the shark is headed for this beach resort. And now they pan into this beach resort, and there's like 1 million people in the water.
And it's funny because
In these different colored tubes. I mean, it looked like a bowl of Fruit Loops. That's what it looked like, right?
and you even said they made a few references to Jaws.
They made a lot of references to Jaws.
One was the dog. There was
There
the
was
dog
a
in the
boat.
water.
There was a boat. There was a couple getting married on the boat. And their wedding party was on the boat, and she had a little dog with her, right? And
Right.
the dog like jumped out of her arms and was running around, and the dog jumped off the boat and started swimming. And she's yelling, "Pippin, Pippin!" The dog's name was Pippin. Which, if you remember, in Jaws, when the kid was on the beach, he was throwing a stick in the water, and he had the retriever. The dog was going into the water to get the stick, and when the dog disappeared, the guy was yelling, "Pippin, Pippin!" Was the name of the same
Right.
name.
They made a few references.
Right.
There's another reference too. What was the other one?
There was a kid that wanted to go in the water, and he wanted to go play in the water, and the mother was saying, "Oh, you just ate, you can't go in the water."
Oh, right,
So
right.
he was being a pain in the neck. So the mother says, "All right, go ahead."
And he was eating as he's going in the
Right,
water.
be careful. So he goes in the water on a raft, and the mother's sitting on the beach. So now when this megalodon gets there, I mean, he just starts going through these people like a smorgasbord.
Yeah, but you know what? It wasn't even that it was intense. Like it was almost to the point like where you were like, oh come on, like you know, it wasn't like Jaws.
Yeah, it wasn't,
Like, when
you keep
Jaws-
comparing it, there's no comparison.
Because I can't understand why they can't make a shark
Jaws
movie like
was
that.
one of the
Why
greatest
can't they
movies
do
ever
it?
made. This
Like
one-
even the littlest thing when the boy or the guy threw the stick and goes, "Come on, Pippin, get in here." It was a regular person throwing the bowl or throwing the stick with his dog. This was a wedding on a boat. Why she had the dog at
You
the
wanna knock
wedding?
that wine over.
You say that every video.
And you're gonna
Do I
do it,
ever
you're gonna
it?
do it eventually.
I don't waste any good wine. Anyway, why did it have to be a wedding party on the water with a dog at the wedding party? Like everything was so like out of the ordinary.
Yeah, anyway,
So-
let's just wrap this up
All right, go
because their dog,
The shark eats everybody.
but the shark is attacking it. Now another reference, which I just realized now as we're talking to you, this resort had these rafts, big wooden rafts
Yes.
that were chained out in the water. So people could swim out to them and sunbathe on these big wooden rafts. So now when the Meg comes through, he catches the chains on his fins and his tail and stuff of these rafts. And now he's pulling these rafts through the water.
Right.
And what it reminded you of is when Jaws, the shark, was pulling the barrels that they had stuck into him, the barrels to keep them up. It looked like the same thing.
No, it didn't remind. You know what it reminds me of? I'm sorry. I think it was Jaws 2, was it? I don't know if it was Jaws 1 or 2, when Michael or one of the kids, the older boy, was out with his friends and they all had their own boats. and they were sitting on the boats. I think that was Jaws 2. And all the boats were lined up, and the shark came, and they were banging into each other, and they had to swim to the rocks, and then
Yeah, no, that's what you believe. That's what you think it was a reference to. That's all right.
All right, well, I just remember, a bunch of teenagers.
Right.
That's
Well,
why.
to me, it reminded when he was pulling these rafts along, and they were like
There was some
floats. It was like a
similarities,
similarity. And also another. Now, of course, everybody sees this shark, right? So now everybody panics and they're trying to run out of water. Same thing as in Jaws. They're trying to run out of water. They're trampling each other. Who's falling into the water? Who's the shark is getting this one, that one. Now you see the kid that was bugging his mother, right? And he's in the middle of this chaos, just sitting there, right? And the mother now was on the beach yelling the kid's name. Just like in Jaws with the kid that went into the water on the raft.
But he got
and the
killed.
mother jumps up when all this panic ensues and she's calling the kid's name and calling the kid's name. That was another reference to Jaws.
And you know what happened? He didn't get killed.
He didn't get killed.
And another reference, the shark went right by him. Remember, went right by the guy in Jaws, the son?
That panic, yeah.
Yeah, he went right by him.
The kid now, the shark goes right, this shark was unbelievably big. He goes by this kid and the kid had a popsicle. The kid looks at him like in shock. And as soon as the shark passes, he goes back to eating the popsicle.
Yeah, they had a little
Yeah.
It was a little comical, right? It was a little comical some parts. I guess they intended for it to be comical in some parts. But I feel if you're going to make a movie that intense, you either go one way or the other. You know what I mean? You don't have the serious movie where you're biting your nails and then...
All right, so you know what? Let me wrap up the movie and then we'll discuss it for a couple minutes.
There's not too much,
right?
yeah, go ahead.
So anyway, the shark tears through this resort, right? Kills almost everybody there. It's not funny, but I mean, it was comical because they were all
Just
like,
the way it was done.
just the way it was done.
Filmed, somehow.
So now, Jason Statham and the crew, they get a hold of this big container ship. And they're going back out after this shark. Make a long story short, the shark gets killed. End of the megalodon. Jason Statham gets the girl. Now he's got a ready-made family. He's got the girl. He's got the girl's daughter. The father, the doctor, Dr. Zhang, he gets killed.
The ex-wife lives.
The ex-wife lives. Everybody lives happily ever after. The guy, the billionaire now, he was involved in all of this. He was around for the whole thing. He was a billionaire from the beginning that funded the research.
Yeah, he wasn't
center.
too smart.
He wants to go out and try to kill the megalodon, right? So that people won't really find out about it and they can't sue him, right? So what happens now is he goes with a helicopter. They drop these bombs, depth charges into the water, and they boom, 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 and
they didn't know what the heck they were doing.
A carcass comes up. And they say, oh, we got him. And he's all happy. He goes there and tells the guy, go down there and get me 2 of those teeth. I want them for my desk. So the guy goes down and the guy comes back. He says, there are no teeth. He says, what do you mean there's no teeth? He says, I don't think that's a shot. I think we killed a whale. So now, as soon as that happens, here comes the megalodon, right? And the megalodon, the guy, a billionaire now, falls into the water, of course. And he's trying to scramble his way up this whale carcass to get on top of this whale carcass. As he's doing that, he's hanging there, and of course, here comes the megalodon, takes him and half the whale in one chomp, and that was the end of him. So anyway, the whale winds up getting killed. Jason Statham gets the girl and the kid, and everybody lives happily ever after. And that's.
And I have one question: why did they just call the Coast Guard?
Yeah, right. They should have called. They sent a couple of planes and missiles, right?
Prehistoric shark. Why were they trying to do it on their own? Right. You can't look too deep into it. It wasn't as bad as those other movies. Like I said, we saw one. What was the one we saw on that? It was a Saturday afternoon. It was like half.
You got the Sharknado.
It was a half alligator, half shark, half.
Those are ridiculous.
Half werewolf. It was something silly. Not as bad as that.
Now
no Media Jaws, the original, but it's just an action movie. Maybe, like I said, grab some popcorn, watch it. It's okay.
Well, my take on it is, I heard it referred to as a B movie.
Not as bad.
I heard it referred to as boring.
It wasn't boring. It was just,
So my opinion of the movie is it's a good relaxing watch. Like if you want to just sit back,
be entertained,
not pay attention to every detail, just be entertained. It's an entertaining movie.
And when it comes out free on demand,
it's not Jason Statham's best challenge movie that he ever did. Not the best acting challenge. The characters
were not
that believable. They had like a girl on there that was a top scientist, and she looked like the girl with the dragon tattoo. She had all spiked back hair, all tattooed, her whole body tattooed, piercings and stuff.
The scientists didn't look like scientists.
Right.
Basically.
They just were. I mean, the characters were very underwritten. The movie, it was put out for what it was. It was.
I would say strictly entertainment.
I mean, it's
don't
nowhere
too deep
near.
into it.
Right.
That's
Don't spend your money to rent it. You know, just wait till it comes on cable, and if you're not doing anything on a Saturday night or whatever, and you're clicking around, looking for something to watch, give it a watch. I mean, you'll be able to sit through the whole movie. It's not like you're going to say, oh, this is so stupid.
It's not a movie where you'll say, I'm going to turn it off.
Right, you're not going to say, oh, this movie's so stupid, I got to turn this movie off.
No.
You'll sit through it.
You'll watch
it. Yeah, you'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it for what it is.
It won't be a memorable movie. People won't be watching it 30, 40 years like Jaws from now.
Is it going to be mentioned at the Oscars? No. So, I don't know if I would give it a thumbs down.
No, it was okay.
I don't know if I give it a thumbs up.
How about somewhere in the middle?
I'm going to give it a thumbs sideways. That's what I'm going to do.
No, it was okay. It was alright.
It was alright. That's it. It was alright. Okay.
That was our first movie that we said was alright.
Right, yeah. If you want to give it a look, I mean, just to see, it's still for rent. Like, it's not playing anywhere like on HBO or Cinemax or anything.
I'll tell you the truth.
Where you can get it for free.
I really wish they would make a good shark movie. Believable.
Like Jaws.
Right. With characters
They should remake
like,
the original Jaws.
Right, exactly.
Remake it modern day, the original
exactly.
Jaws.
With
That
the
would be a
family
good
and
thing.
the characters and the mayor who didn't want to close the beach, he wanted to make money. With a story, with a whole story. That's what I think. But they make them. I think they make these for like teenagers, and I don't.
Yeah, I mean, you know what it is?
It's not a blockbuster.
It was sensationalized. It's one of those movies where like before it comes out and you're watching the trailer, they put like 10 of the only 10 best exciting minutes in the movie.
Yeah, but I kind of knew. I just kind of knew when they said it was a Meg, whatever.
Right. But like in the trailer, they show you the shark hitting the glass in this research center. But you want to know
something else? They can make it if they want to do that. They can make it good. They made Jurassic Park was a blockbuster. Jurassic Park, the first one, all of them were excellent, and that was about dinosaurs, prehistoric monsters running around. They
could have did a much better job.
They could have did what they did with Jurassic Park with the dinosaurs. They could have did this with the sea creatures and stuff like that.
I don't think that they had a big budget on this movie.
I think they didn't have. That wasn't their intent. I think it was just to make a movie
and get it out, try to make some money, and that's it.
They should do what they did that with Jurassic Park, only with the shark movie.
Right.
All
right. So what do you say, kid? You want to wrap it up?
Sure.
All right. All right, guys. Listen, that's the Meg. Take it for what it is. Give it a watch if it comes on cable and you got nothing to do.
I don't know if you want to pay $6 to rent it.
No, don't rent it. Don't
wait
rent
till it comes on.
Wait till it comes
on, right?
All right, listen, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you again.
You know your family, welcome in our house anytime. Okay, we love you. We'll see you in the middle of the week. We're going to do another video. This one's going to come out at the beginning of the week.
We're going to try to do two.
Right, this one will come out in the beginning of the week, and then we'll release another one at the end of the week, in the middle of the week.
Right.
Like we did last week. Okay, we're going to try to keep our promise to you and get 2 videos out a week. All right, otherwise, we'll see you next time. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
Be well, be safe, and we'll see you next time. I'm Bruce.
I'm Mel.
And we're Brooklyn Italians Talk Movies. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.